my graceful grinders. It's your girl, Dr. Pamela Brown-Grinion, the host of the Grace and Grind podcast. And I am here with my very dear friend, Ms. Maisha Beard. I'm so excited. We've been trying to get this together for some time now, and I'm just so happy to finally have her on the show. Miss Maisha, how are you, girlfriend?
I am, in the words of my beautiful, beloved mother, I am absolutely marvelous.
Love it, darling. So I already see what kind of chat this is going to be. Now, what you guys need to know is that Maisha and I are both glam divas. Okay, we are both extra fabulous, and the fabulosity is flowing on this evening. Okay, I can just feel it in
Absolutely.
the atmosphere. All right, so
Absolutely.
Maisha, you know, just so my guests can just get a little bit of get to know you in the works here. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your movement that you are currently implementing, and this wonderful Maisha experience that we can all expect in the near future?
Absolutely. So the Maisha Experience LLC is the baby of my grief. Okay. So my mother made her ascension on March 15th, 2023 at 4:13 a.m. And my heart shattered into a gazillion pieces. And over this past year and several months, it came to me that I have a story. I have a story. But not only do I have a story, my mother on her dying bed, I'll say it, I can say that. On my mother's dying bed, she said to me, she said, Maisha, you promised me that you will tell my story. And you promised me that you will continue to do the work that I love to do. You promised me that you won't stop walking, and you keep on speaking because there is nothing you can't do. As my mother told me.
Mm,
So,
I love that.
um,
That's beautiful.
yes, so as I help entrepreneurs in my professional career, what I learned, what I realized was that, wait a minute, Maisha, you got to get back in the game. As a retired beauty industry hairstylist and business beauty coach, I said, yeah, I need to get back in it, but what will I do? Well, you'll use your voice. You'll tell your story. You will get keynote speaking engagements, and you will talk about grief and what it did to you, how it manifested in your body and your hair and your abdominal area, with your health, with your memory, all of those things, so that someone
Mhm.
can know that there is hope for them and that they're not alone. Because everyone cannot
Mhm.
articulate what is happening to them. So
That's
that
so
is the
true.
Maisha experience. Yes.
I love that. I love that. And for my listening audience, in case you have not realized yet, we're going to be talking about the etiquette of grief. And it stemmed from a conversation that Maya and I were having the other day. And I said, you know what? This sounds like a great podcast episode. And I invited her to join me so that we can talk about this, because we both lost our mothers, I think within months apart, right? My mother died in May of 2020, of last year, May of 2023.
Yes, ma'am. A month apart, 2 months
Yeah,
apart.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And yeah, and it's just it's a little unnerving to imagine. You know, you just don't think about, everyone has to die, but you don't ever think about, you're going to lose your mom.
Nope.
And I guess for me, the hard part was my mom and I had just made up and resolved childhood stuff like months before she passed away.
Mm,
And it's the closest we've ever been. It's the first time I ever felt a true mommy daughter connection. It's the first time I felt like she truly heard me, understood how I was feeling, acknowledged it, apologized like authentically, and I felt like in those few short months, she was able to see me and not the me that she was envisioning, because she didn't want to identify with my pain, because that meant that she would have to identify her shortcomings as, a mother,
Yes, ma'am.
which always caused me
Absolutely.
some type of turbulence. And so we were able to resolve that, and I'm so happy that she didn't pass away,
Mm.
and I had guilt, or she had guilt, like we released each other.
That is so beautiful, Dr. Pamela. That is, I love that you said that, because with my mother, and it was many, many years ago, um, I too had, it was something that I thought I was missing, that I wasn't getting from my mother in my mind. But it wasn't until my father said this to me. He said, until you make it right with your mother, nothing in your life will go good. And years ago, I mean, years and years and years ago, I remember my mom called me and she said, hello, love of my life. I am just calling to see how you are doing and to say that I love you. And I cried a river. I cried and cried and cried. And I said, what more do I want? What do I want? What more do I want? Me, who loves me? Pull from her what you love the most, Maisha. You want to know what my
Oh,
issue
that's
was, Dr. Pam? My issue
what
was
was.
that I thought that she gave one of my siblings more affection, attention, and love than me. And it wasn't until she said, Maisha, I did my best and I knew that you would be okay, but they needed me the most. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, Mommy, now that I have multiple children, I get it. And I am so sorry
Mm-hmm.
for thinking
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't love me.
Mm-hmm. I can
And
relate to that.
we apologized to each other. And I'm so grateful, Dr. Pim, because I have no regrets. No regrets.
Mm-hmm.
None whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And when my mom and I had our moment, it was like in an instant, just like that. All of the years of anger, and even some years of hatred, like real,
Mm,
just like, I don't even want to hear your voice right now. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like,
mhm,
there was
mhm,
really a tumultuous time in my life where I just felt unprotected, unseen, unheard, abused. I just felt
mm,
so many, and I just felt just like, where are you? Like, where
mm,
are you? What are you doing? Where are you? And just didn't feel I didn't feel her presence like I needed to.
mm.
And it caused a lot of negative emotions that, built up over the years. And then at some point, my emotions just seemed to be on autopilot, and I couldn't control it, until I learned how to control it. And
Yes.
and I was okay. I was okay with being angry and feeling what I was feeling. And I felt like you deserve it, because
Yes.
you weren't there. You were the parent. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm,
But yeah, it wasn't until, you're right, when you have children, and then you think that you're doing your absolute best, and your children say to you, well, I felt this way about you. And it's like, well, how could you feel that way about me? And I did this and that and this and that. And I'll never forget my oldest sister telling me that, you ever thought that maybe she did the best that she could with what she had? And when
come
you're a
on.
kid, you don't, like you said, you don't have the language to express that or think that. You can only think from a place of, I'm in a situation of lack here in a lot of different ways, and I'm
Mhm.
desiring more of you, and I'm not getting that, and I need that. I
Ab-
need that. But I thank God that He had so many rams in the bush for me.
mm,
So many female mom examples that I had in my life.
mm. Yes,
Yeah, it was amazing. They really filled the void, filled the gap, stood in the gap, I should say,
absolutely.
stood in the gap.
Mm.
um but yeah, I'm just so happy. So what I want you to share is, um when we were talking the other day, you shared your last moment that you had with your mom, if you don't mind. It was so
Ah,
beautiful.
you know,
And can you mind sharing that, because
I would love to.
it just touched my heart. Oh,
I would
thank
love to
you.
share it. Um, Mommy was at. Well, let me set the stage for the 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 mommy's last breath. Okay, she exhaled, and I was there.
Hmm.
And prior to going to the most beautiful hospice home, my mother looked at me and she said, Maisha, I'm done. I am tired. I am ready to go sing in the choir of angels. Get me into a hospice facility so that I can do this on my terms with my dignity, my respect, and my beauty. And I looked at mommy with tears in my eyes and I said, yes, ma'am. We went on Amazon. We purchased fuzzy socks, beautiful nightgowns, beautiful head coverings, all that matched, a beautiful comforter, new pillows, all of the things. We sat there and put them all in it and we bought them. The ambulance came to Highland Hospital. Mommy got on the stretcher. They put mommy on the stretcher and she looked over at my sibling and I and she said, I am so happy. We drove behind the ambulance, made it to the hospice facility. They put my mother in that soft bed and she went, that feels so. Days passed. They called mommy Lionheart because her heart would not stop beating. When the rest of her organs stopped doing what they were doing, her heart said, not today. I'm going to beat for this organ and this organ and this organ. And what we learned was that we needed to give mommy permission to go. What we learned is that a mother will be a mother until her very last breath. She will be a mother. And what we also learned is that transitioning, ascension, by whatever name you want to call it, is as much work as it is to give birth. So it is work to transition. This is a journey that we learned. Fast forward to the day. I knew it was something different about this day. Mommy's breathing was different. I continued to hear what they call the death rattle and what they say the patient
Hmm.
can't feel. But I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness, this sounds different. And I said, God,
Hmm.
please, I begged God, please take her. I will break my own heart. If my mother is suffering, please, God, just let her sing in the choir of angels now. I begged. I never
Hmm.
begged God because you don't have to beg.
Right.
So time progressed, and I was sleeping in a chair next to her, and my sibling was in the living room sleeping. And a shift happened. And my eyes opened, and I looked at my mom, and her breathing was extremely fast. And I stood up and I whispered to her, and I said, Mommy, it's okay. You can go and sing in the choir of angels and take your rightful place. And you get to see dad, which is her father. And you get to be free. Mommy,
Hmm.
you did well. And I promise you, we will be okay. And maybe another 30, 40 minutes passed by, and I kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her feet, her hands. I felt like it was my moment. I felt like God put me there, and it was my moment, and I allowed it to be. And so she inhaled, and it was a long time in between. Seconds seemed like minutes. And I had my hand on her heart. She exhaled. And in that exhalation, I turned around. I looked at the clock. It was 4:13 a.m. I looked back at mommy to see if I could see anything, if I could hear anything. Mommy was free. And I will never forget the sound of that release, of that exhale. In that moment, there were tears of both sadness and joy, duality. Sad for me, happy for mommy. What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, mommy is with God. This is amazing. I got to witness it. Then there comes guilt. Oh God, I didn't call my sibling. Mommy was passing away and my sibling was right there and I didn't say anything. Okay, Maisha, forgive yourself. You weren't there. You were in the moment. It's okay. This is how it was supposed to happen. And here we are.
Beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. I just wanted to allow a platform to give your experience a voice because I know how near and dear your relationship was with your mom, and you speak about her so profoundly. I know that when people listen to this, they're going to feel exactly what I'm feeling right now. Surrounding that experience, how did that personal experience help to shape your understanding about the etiquette of grief?
Here is what this entire experience did to shape that. Here's what I know. I know that grief is not a destination. I know that time does not heal anything. I know that cliches do not help. I know that people can experience losing their mothers. However, the experience is different for each person.
Yes, absolutely.
I know that no one can fix me because my soul,
Understand all of that.
person who's grieving, but the etiquette of the people who love us. Okay?
Yes.
What we're
Yes.
we are the ones who are grieving. And I may forget something. Dr. Pam, I may think that I said, oh, I told Dr. Pam. A prime example is when I said, so are you coming tomorrow to make candles? And you said, what are you talking about? I said, oh, I thought I told you. Now, I don't know if I thought about telling you or if I really told you. I don't know. Why? Because grief has affected my memory. It is a scientific fact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what others can do who can sympathize but have no idea of the effects that losing your mother has on you is to be patient with us. If you invite me somewhere, Dr. Pam, now I don't say, I'll be there. I don't do that anymore. I say, I endeavor to be there. You want to know why? I don't
Because you never
know.
know how
I
you're going to
don't
be feeling that
know
day.
how I am going to feel moment to moment. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to feel. And if I don't have the energy, it's not that I didn't want to show up. It's because I didn't have the energy. For me, memory, energy, chronic pain, stomach ulcers, hair loss. Yes. I wear,
Yeah, and I don't think people. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
I wear wigs now. I used to wear sew-ins all the time. I wear units now. Why? Because from my hairline, 3 inches back, from the day my mother exhaled, my hair began to fall out. I make it look good because
Honey,
I'm
you
who
make
I
it look
am. You
fabulous.
know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Because that's what I'm going to do.
I do.
You know, that's
Exactly.
what we do. But don't let these lashes and this lipstick and this big
Do
hair
you?
make you think that I don't cry at night. that this don't come
Mm-hmm.
off, and I have to look myself in a mirror and accept what I see and say, Maisha, you are beautiful, even if you have
Mm-hmm.
alopecia now. When I look in a mirror
Mm-hmm.
and see that my stomach may be swollen on Monday, it may be flat on Wednesday, and it's back swollen on Friday because of bloating, because my
Mm-hmm.
stomach is where the pain is held. Every day I have to look and love on my stomach and tell it I love it and thank it
Mm-hmm.
for all that it does for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to speak life over myself so I can live.
Mm-hmm. This
I
is
read
so
something
good.
that said the most courageous thing you can do is live. And I'm
This is so
trying,
good. This is so good.
trying
And I
every
think you're
day.
helping a lot. I think you're helping a lot of women right now just by sharing who, because some people don't have the words or know how to verbalize what they're feeling, and you are doing such a phenomenal job at explaining it. And I know people are going to relate to this. I know people are going to relate to this because we don't think that physiologically, or we aren't taught to think that physiologically we can have manifestations in our body that began with our emotions, that began with the pain, that began with the grief. And we just don't tie the two in together of how it can impact us physically. And
That's
everything
what,
that you're mentioning is physiologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, in your soul. Like all of this stuff is tied. God designed us where all this stuff is tied in together, and if it's functioning properly, then all these things are on one accord. But it just takes one something to disrupt it, and grief is a huge factor that has the potential to do that.
absolutely. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, do you feel that, I know for me, when someone loses a mom, prior to me losing mine, I would say, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, not really understanding because I still had my mom. But when I lost my mom, when I gave condolences to somebody for losing their mom, it was a totally different feel, emotion, expression, thought. I mean, it's like I could feel
Hmm.
the person's grief because I mean, I know, when I say I understand.
Dr. Pam. Dr. Pam, you are talking. Do you understand me? Because it is different.
It's different.
And I don't wish this on anybody
Mm-mm.
ever. Although this is life, but I don't wish anyone to have to feel this. And
Mm-hmm.
so yes, when I see that someone, there is a young lady on social media, and I have over 5,000 Facebook friends. I don't know all of them personally, but that's okay. Social media is what you make it. And this young lady lost her mother, and I immediately went to her inbox. I am here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
what I could even give, but Spirit led me to say, I'm here. I am here to catch
Mm-hmm.
your tears. Cry whenever you need to. Do whatever you have to. Scream if you
Mm-hmm.
need to. And
Mm-hmm.
don't let anybody tell you how you should feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's a different journey for everybody. We
It's
we
a
may have had
different
the same
journey.
experience. It's a different journey. What it looks like for you is not going to be what it looked like for me.
No,
It just isn't.
no.
And it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. There is no right or wrong way to do it. And I think that society, um, these cliches.
Oh,
What's the cliche that you hated hearing the most
woo!
after your mom passed away? Because
Dr.
I mean, some people sent me to almost wanting to cuss them out. I said,
Dr. Pamala
girl,
Brown-Grinion.
honey,
Let me
honey.
tell you. Let me say this. the one that I despise. Oh, she's in a better place. You think I don't
Ugh.
know that? You think I didn't beg God to have his way immediately?
Right.
You
Right.
think that I don't know my mother is singing in the choir of angels and she's free and she is healed of all? Yeah,
Right.
I know, but I want my mother. How about that?
Right.
I want my mom
Right.
back. I want my mommy
Right.
back. Call it what you want. Call it selfish. I don't care what you call it. Why do other people get to have their mothers? Why does one of my friends and her mom get to dance and do TikToks and have a great time? And her mother is over 70 and mine had to die at 67. How is that fair? How is it fair that I don't have my mom, that you don't have your mom? How is that? I get to feel this. I get to
Yeah.
feel it. And no one can tell me not that I am wrong for feeling
Right.
this way. She was
Right.
my mother for 50 years. And for 50 this year, my first birthday without mommy, I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to see anybody because I didn't even know who I was. She's in a better place. Well, how about I want her to be with me, healthy?
Right.
How about I still
Right.
have flowers to give her? How about cancer
Right.
stole her from me and my siblings? Nothing makes that okay for me. Yes, God
Mm-hmm.
is God. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
negating that, but I get to feel how I feel
And he knew that you were going to feel, and that's he wouldn't have given us
before
these
I
feelings
even
if we
felt
weren't
it.
supposed to use them.
That's
Right.
right. I get
Yeah.
emotional. I get very Dr. Pam, you are asking me questions that
People don't
I
think
guess
to
this
ask
this
you.
needed to yes, and this needed to come out because
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. And then the other question, or I think the cliche that I got tired of, I know the scripture and prayer works. I know that. I grew up in the church all my life, right? But right
yes, ma'am.
now, I'm not feeling spiritual. I'm feeling very natural and very carnal. And thank you for the
Yes.
scriptures, but please don't tell me I shouldn't cry. I should be rejoicing. I should be rejoicing, and I should not be crying. And she wouldn't want you to be crying. What?
Dr. Pam, don't make
She
me
wouldn't
say
want you
a
to be crying.
Dr. Pam, don't make me say one of them words
Girl,
on this here
listen, listen.
podcast. Okay.
On this podcast, darling.
Yes, let
Listen,
me
okay.
excuse pardon me.
She wouldn't want you. She wouldn't want I had to hold my tongue and think about the other person and I'm grieving. Or how
Mm,
about you didn't give me enough attention. Huh? You didn't give me enough attention, girl.
listen, you talking, Dr. Pam. She wouldn't want you to cry. Hmm.
How you
The,
know?
the person whose womb nurtured you, Dr. Pam.
The person who cried birthing me. The person who cried birthing me
Mm.
would not want me to cry when I'm watching her die.
Now make that make sense. You
So the word
should.
that God gave me, what you should
Mm.
write. The word that God gave me was extend grace. So I learned how to extend grace to people that was talking straight foolery,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
foolishness, buffoonery, and all of that. To
Because
me,
you.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
tell me how to take my grief journey for my mother. Like
Absolutely. No.
nobody gets to do that. And no one knew how to say, you hear people say, well, how you doing, in general, just how you doing. But how you doing is not the same as, Pam, how are you feeling with all this? How you doing and how you feeling, doing and
Too
feeling
good.
are two different things. You're going to get
Absolutely.
two totally different answers, because if you
Totally.
ask me how I'm feeling, my I would say to you, I don't know how I'm feeling. I've never felt this before. I'm feeling emotions that I don't have a word to describe, and because I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
I am feeling, but I'm numb. I'm
Mhm.
happy, but I'm angry and
Mhm.
I'm sad.
Mhm.
I understand what's happening, but I'm confused.
Come
I
on.
desired this to happen, but I wish it didn't.
Yes.
And I'm glad she's not suffering, but the selfish part of me is like, I just would rather her be
Healed.
on this side of heaven, right?
Come on.
Healed on this side of heaven
Mhm.
versus,
Mhm.
you understand what I'm saying? So for
Yes.
someone
Yes.
to tell me about the etiquette of my grief,
Oh, come on now.
I think that we need to be a little bit more sensitive about, what we say to people, and or sometimes, you know what, my I would appreciate if people would just shut up,
Listen, let me say something to you. Mommy is all over here.
please.
You hear me? Because mommy's favorite term. Now, you said shut, right? Now, put a word in between the mommy's favorite. Do you understand me? And she said it's so good. She said it's so doggone.
Oh, elegantly. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that, oh, Dr. Pam, that was so good. And when you really think about that's duality. Like I love the way the Most High God, whatever name you call the higher power, for
Mhm.
those who are listening, w- love the way that we were created, because
Mhm.
we get to feel more than one feeling at a time. Oh, we get to feel, we get to experience joy and pain at the same time.
Mhm. Come on now.
At
You
the
better
same time.
talk about it.
And let me tell you about joy. Let me tell you something about joy. Joy was walking into my 52nd birthday dinner, and you were there, Dr. Pam, and seeing my loved ones in yellow. I felt so much joy in my heart. And in the deepest part of my soul, Mommy, I wish you were here.
Yeah.
Mommy, you would
Yeah.
love Dr. Pam. I can see you talking to Dr. Pam right now. Mommy, you would have loved the song Jasmine sang. Oh my goodness, you would have said, sing that song, Jasmine. You know, I'm so, while I'm in joy, deep within, I still felt that aching,
Mhm. Mhm.
yearning for my mother's
Mhm.
physical presence. Yes, I know
Mhm.
she's everywhere, closer to me than the air I breathe. I know. Can I smell her though?
Mhm.
Can I touch
Right.
her? My mother spoiled me so good. If I got pink eye as a grown woman, she came and picked me up. And I was just making movies like I do because I'm extra. And I don't apologize for it because that's who I is.
Period. That's right.
The end. And she sat right on the corner
Period.
of that sofa, and I laid my 5'11" behind down with my head in her lap. Mommy, it hurts. And she put the eye drops in my eyes. When I got mosquito bites, she came over and iced them. Okay. When I was in the hospital after a major surgery, I heard my mother and I was under anesthesia, and I said, Mommy. And she said, that's my daughter. I hear her. And she climbed up in that bed with me and held me and did not leave me.
Mhm.
So I put my own eye drops in now. That don't even make sense to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, people
I
don't
get it.
understand. We are different.
I get it. We're different. My
And
I
Dr.
think my
Oh, go
ex.
ahead.
Well, no, no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that mommy told me, and she told me and my siblings this. Um, and now I tell my children this. Maisha, you are the love of my life. Only God loves you more than my mother said
Mhm.
it. Only God loves you more than me. Do you hear me? Only God loves you more than me. Only God loved you more than your mom, Dr. Pam.
My mom said the same thing. Yeah.
Mm,
My
mm,
experience where I really, really, really missed my mom the most was when I was graduating with my doctorate. My mother, I knew my mother was proud of me because the whole time I was trying to finish my studies, she would
mm.
always, when she would be in the hospital, she would always say, "This is my doctor right here." And I'll be like, "Mommy, I'm not a doctor yet. Are you my doctor? This my baby. This my baby, a doctor." I'm like, "Oh, here
I
we go."
love it.
I'm like, "Mommy, I'm not a doctor yet." And she would always ask me, like, "You coming over today? Are you doing this today or whatever?" And I'm like, "Mommy, I can't. I'm working on this dissertation." "You still working on that dispensation?" I said, "Mommy, it's called a dissertation." That's what I said, dispensation. When I finished it, when I finished it
Mm,
and I defended the dissertation, I just said, "Mommy, I finished my dispensation."
mm,
And when I was graduating, because she always said, "I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be there. I can't wait until you graduate. I'm going to be there watching you graduate." And I tell you, I had the hardest time
mm,
lining up. And
mm,
I wanted to get a button, or I wanted to have something with my
mhm,
mom, some type of tribute. The necklace I had, that was her
mm,
in her I found in her jewelry box, her initial M. I forgot the
mm,
necklace. It was in my purse,
mhm,
but I had forgotten to put
mhm,
it on. And I just was like, "Oh my God, I don't have
mhm,
anything." And I just, even though I knew she was in my heart, she was definitely on my
mhm,
mind. I wanted to have
mhm.
something tangible. And as
Yes.
I was walking to march in, before I went into the auditorium, one of my best friends was standing there trying to get in, but they wouldn't let her in because we were processing in.
Mhm,
And she waved her hands like, "Come here, come here, come here." And I saw her, and I went over to her, and she had a button with my mom's picture on
oh
it,
my God.
and she pinned it on me. And my
Mm,
Isha, when I tell you, my legs
my goodness.
just instantly turned into wet noodles.
Mm, mm, mm,
I felt like I was going to faint
mm,
at any minute. And as
mm,
we're sitting there and I'm just in the chair, I'm just like, I wish they would hurry up and, let's go, let's go, let's go.
mm,
As
mhm,
I was walking up the ramp, and my doctoral chair came and stood on the right side of me. And he told me, "I only came today so that I can hood you. Like, this is why I'm here." And he said, "And I want you to know your mother is so incredibly proud of you right now." When I
oh,
tell you, I could have fallen over.
yes.
And then when I went up there and I faced, and I could see all of my family on that back row, like almost taking up the whole row.
Mm,
And I did not see my mother. I'm telling you, something inside of me, just like in an
mm,
instant, I felt like there was a quiver and a quaker, and I just wanted to release it.
mm,
And I just heard my mother say, "Stand up."
mm,
Just like that. Stand up. Because I was going down. I felt it.
mm,
I felt it come over me. I was going out. Okay.
mm,
I heard my mother say to me, "Stand, Link, stand up." And I stood up, and then I did a curtsy to get down so that they could hood me.
mm. Oh my
Okay.
God.
And then I stood up and I walked off of that stage with such pride because I knew how pleased my mother would have been if she was there.
Yes.
I know it. I know it. And the only reason why I was able to finish that dissertation was because I knew, and I promised my mother. She said to me on her deathbed, "Do not quit your studies.
Mm,
Do not," and she told me, "You need to be about the business of the living.
mm. Come
Promise me you are going to finish
on.
what
Mm.
you started."
Yes.
And I promised. And I had to prove that I had to fight,
Yes.
because you're numb, you're
Yes.
hurting, but you're numb,
Hmm.
and you're
Hmm.
broken, and you're feeling
Hmm.
something, and you don't know what it
Hmm.
is because you're going through all of that stuff,
Hmm.
but you still gotta push to achieve
Yes.
the largest goal in your life that you promised her,
That you.
that you were like you made that promise. I made a
Yes.
promise too,
Yes.
and we're both making these things come into fruition.
They're
I'm proud of
happening.
us.
I am proud of
They're
us. I am
happening.
so proud of us. And
Yeah.
that is so profound, Dr. Pam. I experienced, had a similar experience. I said, I need to go and finish my master's. And my heart is broken, but I have to finish this. I have to prove it to myself that I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And every day, every time I made it onto Brockport's campus, I said, I made it. I made it to
Mm-hmm.
class. My entire thesis, 50% of my thesis is nonfiction about my mother and my mother's story.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is poetry and the other is, fiction. But my mother was at my kindergarten graduation,
Mm-hmm. I
my
know what you're talking
elementary
about,
school
girl.
graduation, high school,
Mm-hmm.
associates,
Mm-hmm.
bachelor's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I supposed to be happy that I got my master's? And why am I crying? What is happening? What am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
ordered a I ordered a hat topper, trying to have something tangible. And I ordered a hat topper with a picture of my mother when she was very healthy, vibrant, and looking beautiful and feeling beautiful. And I put that hat on. And I said, come on, mommy, let's go get my master's. But like you, I have a picture with my mother with every cosmetology school, every other
Mm-hmm.
milestone. But how is that real?
Yeah. How are you not
How
supposed to
is
feel that?
how is it real that you wore a pin and I wore a picture of mommy on my? How is that real? And how do we even process it? It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And all the other firsts
all
that they're
of
not
the
there.
firsts.
You
There will
didn't
be
get the happy
many.
birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
the song that
Mother's Day. Yeah.
oh my gosh,
First
oh
Mother's
my
Day.
gosh.
First
And,
Christmas. You know.
and
Her
Thanksgiving.
birthday.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's birthday is
listen,
coming up next Sunday.
next
Sunday.
stores,
And
birthdays,
yeah.
you know, the flowers you go buy. So now what? What,
Mm-hmm.
what now?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? How,
Who has the answer to that question? Somebody email in the answer to that question. Now what do we do?
now what?
You know, now what? Now what?
all, all I can do, here's all I could do. Somebody said one day at a time. Somebody said one moment at a time. One breath at a time for me.
Mm-hmm.
One breath at a time for me. Because
Mm-hmm.
there is no antidote. There is just not, and from my perspective, there is no antidote. There is nothing anyone can say that'll take away the pain.
Right.
I can do all of the things. I'm going to make candles tomorrow. That's part of my stress management. I love sunflowers. I love plants. I have them around. I love the way my home looks. Try to put myself together every day. So when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. I'm on a
Mm-hmm.
whole self-care journey. Okay. And it still hurt, but okay. Some
Mm-hmm.
days my higher self says, like I was watching the rain one day, and the poet in me and the writer in me and the artistic person in me was sitting on my porch, and I actually saw the rain. I usually just see the rain hit the pavement, but I saw the
Mm-hmm.
rain. I said, wow, I can see the rain. And then I saw the tree, and the
Mm-hmm.
wind was blowing. And the branches showed no resistance to the wind. No resistance. They flowed. They flowed. I watched a few leaves fall. And I said, oh man, the leaf. And then I saw as the leaf fell, I looked at the trunk of the tree and I was like, oh wow, look at that foundation. The tree will always be there. And that is God, the Most High, the Great Supreme, whatever name people choose to call it. And then I said, oh, the wind, that's life. And the branches, that's us. And when we don't show resistance, we flow. And then that leaf is not coming back until the next season. It's my mom. And so
I love
I was
that.
like, that's beautiful, mommy. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
talk to mommy like that. That's beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
mommy. Thank you for showing me that. Thank you for showing me that in a metaphor. Now that felt good, but that's a moment. That's the doggy, my doggies. That's your doggies. That's a moment. That isn't like, Mhm.
That's gonna kill me about them dogs.
We sorry,
And I
Jazzy.
did gate them, and we sorry they broke out. They broke out of the gate.
They broke out.
All right, so they broke out, making all that noise. Okay, so let me just give a pause so she'll have time
Hmm.
to do her little
Hmm.
snipping.
Yes.
All right, so my final question that I want to
Hmm.
share with you is, we watched you go through your grief.
Mm.
We've read your stories about your mom on social media. Like, you were very public about how you were feeling. It
Yes.
was all positive. Even when you expressed your negative emotions around it, it was still very positive, right?
Mm.
So the question that I like to ask all of my guests are, how did you make going through that grief journey of yours, and you still continue to grind through it, right?
Mm.
How did you
Mhm.
make that grind look so graceful as you were
Mm.
grieving the greatest grief you've ever felt in your life? How did you
Phew.
continue to make your grind look so graceful?
By staying in flow. It's like those branches that I was telling you about with the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing myself to feel whatever came up in my heart space, whatever came up. I was just available to allow the journey to unfold. And it's still unfolding. I
Mm-hmm.
am still very much grieving. And the way it
Mm-hmm.
looks, I know one thing, when I look good, I feel good.
Absolutely.
So I try to keep myself together. But I always, always, always speak my truth. Even if I'm vulnerable. I remember I was on a cruise last year and I wouldn't lie because I wanted people to understand how I juxtaposed the ocean and the waves and the never ending sky to life and the boat. So the waves in the ocean, they were so beautiful. And the ship disturbed the waves, right? But guess what? Those waves did not care anything about that ship because when that ship passed, they went right back into the rhythm that they were in. So flow, Maisha. Whichever way the waves go, in the words of one of my favorite artists, Landrell, flow with it. If it hurts,
Mm-hmm.
cry. If it's
Mm-hmm.
something joyful, laugh. If it's something in between in that liminal space, be there. It's okay. It's all okay. It's all natural. And be grateful and tell people to hug their mothers 5 more seconds just for you. Because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
When you hug your mom, hug her a little bit longer for me. Because I love that. For those who have your mothers, I'm talking right to y'all. hug her just
Mm-hmm.
a few more seconds for me and Dr. Pam. I'm telling you, just a few
Mm-hmm.
more seconds if you can. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I do it.
And yeah, and heal what's broken.
Oh, yes.
Heal what's broken. And I've been saying that since mommy passed away because I don't have to live with the guilt of not saying I'm sorry to release her, but also releasing myself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
heal what's broken because,
Yes.
I used to hate when people would say, you only get one. And I would say, look, everybody knows their own mother. Don't tell me I only get one.
Right.
But now,
Right.
yeah, you
Woo.
won't listen. You only get one. And
And
it's more than just a few words,
it
right? You
sure
only get
is.
one. It's
It
more than
sure
just a
is.
cliche. It's more
It,
than just a cliche
it
that we say. It's the
that's
truth.
right. It's the truth.
And and if you just don't want to risk having to feel like that if you don't get it right. That's
Nope.
all I'm saying.
And it's up to us to get it right. It's up to
Yeah.
us. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what else helped, Dr. Pam? And I have to say this. People like everyone that was at my birthday dinner, people that are a part of my circle, people who love me through this, through every aspect of who I am, giving me grace, knowing that I may not have the energy one day. I may be all happy one day, the next day I don't want to talk. But they love me through it. The people who love you, Dr. Pam, the people who love us, we hold on to them. Those are our people who love us through
Mm-hmm.
all of the usness that we are.
Right.
Because, Dr. Pam, I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about
I know that's right, girl. Well, you know what? That's all we have time for today, and I just want to just sum things up and just tell people to allow others to grieve in the way that they want to without imposing the way you would grieve on them. Allow people the space and the energy and to just be the way that they want to be, to express it the way that they want to express it. And please abandon the cliches because that has nothing to do with how I'm grieving. Your cliches does not help me or anybody else while we're grieving. So keep your cliches to yourself and pray in quiet. Sometimes you just got, when you don't know what to say, just don't say anything at all. Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing. So just remember that. Okay. All right, my graceful grinders, we are out. We had my very dear friend, Ms. Maisha from the Maisha Experience, Maisha Beard. I'm so glad that we had the time to share this space together today.
it. Likewise, Dr. Pam, likewise. Thank you for having
I'm
me. And
so
thank
glad.
you, Graceful Grinders.
Yes, honey. And you know what? We're going to be doing this a whole lot more. I just feel it in my
Oh,
bones.
yes, absolutely.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
All right. Bye.